Hey guys, welcome back to another music theory lesson. Every Thursday I'm posting theory videos, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel. The idea is we're starting from the very beginning and working our way up throughout the weeks. This is lesson number 2. So, game plan for today. Quickly review some of the stuff we went over last week in the intervals video, and then expand on from there. First, I want to clarify some nomenclature issues and talk about some different naming problems you might run into in the real world. And then we're going to expand on that and talk about some upper structure intervals that are greater than an octave, which are really important to know for chord voicings especially. Then I wanted to show you guys some easy ways to visualize these shapes on the guitar neck, and I put together a little PDF which I will link to down below. It's a free worksheet you can download from my website. And then if you guys stick around to the very end, we're going to do a few ear training drills going over all of these intervals, and you can test your knowledge and see how your ear stacks up. Okay, so last week we talked about all the intervals that fall within one octave. I'm gonna play these all in C today. So we would have the root note, the minor 2, the major 2, minor third, major third, perfect fourth, diminished fifth, perfect fifth, minor 6, natural 6, or major 6, minor 7, major 7, and octave. First thing I want to clear up is some nomenclature issues, or just some naming problems and confusion that might exist depending on who you're talking to about this sort of stuff. So we were referring to the intervals as minor second, major second, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, etc. like that. But a lot of people just refer to these by their numerical value, okay? So instead of saying major second or major third, we might just call that the second or the third. And the minor version of those intervals we would call the flat 2 or the flat 3. Another thing you might hear is instead of just the 2, sometimes we'll call that the natural 2. So C to D, we could call it major second, we could just call it the second, or we could call it natural second or natural 2 or just 2. And the minor second, which was C to C sharp or D flat, we could call that interval the minor second, the minor 2, or the flat 2. Same goes for diminished fifth. We could call that the flat 5. And especially when you're reading chord symbols, a lot of times you'll see like, C minor 7, flat 5. Refers to that interval, right? That's going to be inside the chord voicing somewhere. Okay, so same thing goes for the 6th and 7th, right? We would have 6th, we could have flat 6, or natural 6th and flat 6, natural 7th or major 7th, and flat 7 instead of minor 7. And then the octave. Now, the other interesting thing is, especially in chord symbols and chord voicings, oftentimes you'll see some crazy numbers that go up above 8. So for instance, G9, G13, G7 sharp 11. So all that means is if we stacked out our intervals from 1 to 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's our major scale. And then the notes, if they kept going, would repeat that pattern, right? It would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then 8 is the 1 again. And we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But what we could do is just continue counting instead of starting over from the 8 as the new 1 again and going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could count 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, on from there, right? So sometimes when you hear people referring to the 9th, right, that's really the 2nd again. So, or the 11th is the 4th again, and the 13th is the 6th again. So major 9 is really the 2nd, flat 9 is the flat 2, the 11 is the 4th, sharp 11 is the sharp 4, a 13th is the octave plus a major 6th. Sometimes people use those intervals interchangeably, for instance, switching out the 13th with the 6th, or the 11th with the 4th, We're not going to get into that kind of debate yet, at least in this video. That's a whole nother video. And when we start talking about chords a little bit further down the road, we might explore some of those nomenclature differences. All you guys really need to know for now is that those high number intervals are the same as the 2, the 4, and the 6. Okay, so let's take just a minute and kind of explore together some of the shapes and where these lie within one position on the guitar neck. Let's play C major today. So C is the 8th fret on the 6th string. By the way, if you don't know the names of your notes up and down the fretboard, I got a whole video on that, and you can check that out here. Let's go through first all the major intervals. So from this C on the 8th fret, if we were playing a second, we could go down 3 frets onto the next string, and that's where that second is going to be. It's also on the same string 1 whole fret up, or two frets up, 1 whole step up. We could also play it here. Now that we might call the 9th because it's higher up above the next octave. We could also play that here. So major third is going to be 1 fret down from the root and 1 string down. Or 3 strings over and 1 fret up. You can also stretch up here, in this case to the 12th fret, and get this. Those are all major thirds that are easily reachable within that position. The 4th is just down 1 string at the same fret. Or 2 frets down, 3 strings down. That's a 4th. 5th is easy because it's our power chord shape. Or down on the B string, 8th fret also. 6th is going to be 2 strings down, 1 fret down from the root note. Or 10th fret on the B string. And then major 7 we're going to have here 2 strings down, 1 fret up from the root. Or if you can visualize the other root note being straight across the neck, the 7th is down 1 fret from the root there. I think it's really worthwhile spending some time playing through those slowly, note by note. If you know where those notes are within the chord, then you have the power to change them at will and add and subtract cool color tones from the chords and all kinds of other fun stuff. But it starts from being able to visualize that across the neck. So incorporate a little bit of that into your practice every day outside of like learning tunes and shedding technique drills. Spend a little time working on your visualization across the neck too. Okay, now last, I promised that we would do some ear training drills today. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna put the neck down so you guys can't see my hands right here. And I'm gonna play some of these intervals and I'm gonna write them down as we go. I'm gonna move the guitar neck off camera so you can't see what notes I'm playing. Try just to use your ears. We're gonna hang out on each one for a second. See if you can identify by ear what these intervals sound like, okay? And then we'll go over them at the end. Actually, you know what? Maybe we'll go over them in the next video, okay? If you think you know the answers, maybe write them in the comments. We'll check your work and we'll go over them in the next video. That might be kind of fun. Here's the first interval, all right? We're still gonna play these in the key of C for now. Here's our root note. Okay, here's the first interval. Okay, think about that. Rewind it if you need to. Really try to use your ears. Here's the next interval. Here's the next one. Okay, next one. If you don't get it right off the bat, that's okay. It takes time to kind of let these sounds seep into your ears and figure out how they work. Let's see, a couple more. Here's the next one. And let's do one more. Let's do one more. All of those intervals were either major or perfect, okay? So now what we're gonna do is add in, let's do 7 more. We'll do 7 more and there'll be a mixture of minor and or flatted intervals in with the major ones, okay? So here's your first one. Here it is up high. Here it is down low. Woo! Spicy. Okay, here's another one. Okay, next one. Okay, next one. Woo! Crunchy. Okay, here's another one. Okay, here's another one. And last one. Let's see. Last one, let's do this. Okay, so write those down. Rewind the video if you need to, write them down, make a little list, what you think are the correct answers. We'll go over those next week. Next week we're gonna get into a little bit more of the scale stuff, how these intervals are used within a major scale, and go over any questions you guys have, so leave them in the comments to this video. And if you're enjoying this content, please hit subscribe. Really is the best way to support the channel. Those of you that are subscribed, thank you so much for the support, and tune in next week. We'll see you then. Peace.